Welcome to the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, episode number 84. I don't have time to hate the people that hate me because I'm too busy loving the people that love me. Drake.
Broadcasting from the back alley in Hollywood, it's the Indie Film Hustle Podcast, where we show you how to survive and thrive as an indie filmmaker in the jungles of the film biz. And here's your host, Alex Ferrari.
Welcome, my Indie Film Hustlers, to another episode of the Indie Film Hustle Podcast. I am your humble host, Alex Ferrari. Today's show is sponsored by Aaron Sorkin's Masterclass. If you guys don't know who Aaron Sorkin is an Academy Award-winning screenwriter who wrote Social Network and did shows like The West Wing and Newsroom on HBO, among many other. He also did Steve Jobs, the movie, as well. He's a very legendary screenwriter for his dialogue and what he's able to do with his extremely unique voice as a screenwriter. So when he decided to do a masterclass, very much like Werner Herzog did in his masterclass, to kind of share the secrets from a master. And I already signed up for it. It's going to be coming out later this summer, but you can pre-enroll to get early access at indiefilmhustle.com/Sorkin. That's Sorkin. Indiefilmhustle.com/Sorkin. And I wanted to tell you guys about a new course that I just released. It is the Introduction to Red Cinema Cameras. It basically takes you through all the Red cameras, the history of Red cameras, the kind of media you use, little tips and tricks on how to make it look great and all that kind of good stuff. It is an introduction course to Red. So if you already own a Red and know things about Red, this is not the course for you. But if you are somebody who knows little about Red or doesn't know a whole lot about it, this is definitely a course for you. It's taught by myself and Egon Stefan Jr., who is a Red certified trainer as well. And I am doing a launch special. It's going to be selling for $45 on Udemy, but today you can get it if you go to our link, you'll get it for $30, and that is indiefilmhustle.com/red camera. Now it is a limited time at $30, so definitely check it out. And it's a fun course, and like I said, it's a great introductory course to Red, and we actually go over the Red weapon as well. So we go over the new functions of the Red weapon, how it differs from the dragon, and so on. So a lot of fun. indiefilmhustle.com/red camera. So I wanted to give you an update on This Is Meg. We've been getting some great donations. Thank you so much for all of you supporters out there helping us out trying to get this movie made so I can show you guys how I make this movie and how I make a micro budget feature film with a very small crew. And after the movie gets going, I will tell you how small that crew is. It's quite ridiculous. But I will show you all the breakdowns of how I'm putting together my rig, what I'm shooting on, how I'm shooting on, workflows, the whole ball of wax. And you can check all of that out over at indiefilmsyndicate.com. And you can go into the micro budget film masterclass there. So definitely check that out. And of course, head over to thisismeg.com and share it, talk about it, do whatever you need to do to get the word out. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for all the support and well wishes. So guys, today, I wanted to do this episode because I think it's something that every artist and anybody who puts themselves out in the public at all has to deal with. I'm talking about haters. Now, I always like to say that haters, drinking, Haterade by the pallet. They're buying the Haterade at Costco. That's how much they hate sometimes. And, when I first did my first movie back in 2005, and, I really put myself out there pretty heavily with that short film Broken. And I got a lot of reviews, a lot of great reviews on the movie and just a lot of love. And the second I got a Roger Ebert quote, I'm not kidding you, I had 4 or 5 bad reviews back to back right after that. And the Haterade, the haters, if you will, came out with such vengeance and just veracity that was, it's still out there somewhere online if you want to check them out. They're hilarious, the reviews and comments and things like that. It was actually quite brilliant. And if these guys would just put a little effort into making their own movies as opposed to all the effort into hating me back then, maybe things would be a little different. But I wanted to talk about haters and people who don't believe in what you're doing And a lot of times just trolls or haters that just go after you because of whatever reason they want to go after you for, whether it be jealousy, whether it be just who they are. And that's the one thing I want to kind of really stress out about this. You're not going to make everyone happy as an artist, as a filmmaker. You're going to make movies that you can't make everyone happy, period. Some people might not like your style. Some might people not like the way you do things or the way you make your movies. But can you imagine the amount of haters that a Robert Rodriguez, a Quentin Tarantino, a Kevin Smith, a Spike Lee, a David Fincher, a Chris Nolan, all these guys have had their haters. I know it's hard to believe, but all you got to do is just go on Google and type in, let's say this, Shawshank Redemption, arguably one of the greatest movies of all time. I have yet to meet many people, if any at all, who don't either like it, love it, think it's the greatest movie of all time, or at least if they didn't enjoy it, they acknowledge it being a very well told story. I've never met anyone who disliked it, like just really disliked it. Well, if you just go on to Google and go, Shawshank Redemption bad review, you will read bad reviews of Shawshank Redemption. And it'll make you feel better if someone's crapping on your stuff. I mean, not that your stuff or my stuff for that matter is as good as Shawshank Redemption, but it just shows you that no matter how good something is, there's always going to be someone hating, always going to be haters out there. And I know it affects a lot of people differently. Specifically, I've been around for 20 odd years and I've gone through this multiple times with my projects. Anytime you put your projects out there, especially on the internet, people will hate. People will leave comments. People will do whatever they want to do. And that's fine. And that's who they are. And you have to understand that you have to understand that people are going to be who they are. So if they're nasty people, they're going to be nasty. If a frog is going to be a frog, you can't be angry at them for being the frog. You just can't. If you are hanging around with a snake and the snake bites you, you can't be angry at the snake because that's what snakes do. That's what their nature is. So if people are going to hate, that might just be who they are. They might be dealing with other things that they're dealing with in their own personal lives, and this is the way they get it all out. Who knows? Maybe they just want to hate just for the sake of hating. And that's fine and completely acceptable if you want to. I mean, not acceptable. I don't accept it. I think it's horrible. Everyone has an opinion. And I've always tried to be very constructive with my opinions. I try not to be juvenile with my opinions on movies, on people, because it's very difficult to make a movie. It's very difficult to make art, to put yourself out there as an artist. It's very difficult to have a podcast, to have a blog, a public blog where, thousands upon thousands of people read it every day. And people have their opinions on what you have to say about things. And that's okay. Everyone has them, just like they say, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, don't mean to be crude about it, but it's the truth, So, I have a couple sayings that I love to hear anytime I get haters or people dislike something I'm doing. And it says basically, a tiger doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of a sheep. And, and I think that was such a great saying, because look, I've studied so many different filmmakers over the course of my career, the Ridley Scotts, the Chris Nolans, the David Finchers, the Tarantinos. And I've noticed that among all these people, especially anybody at the top level, anybody that's made it to the higher echelons of whatever field they're in, one thing they all have in common is, generally speaking, they don't let other people's opinion really matter that much. They just go forward. Ridley Scott has not read a review of his movies, I think, since some of the early ones he made prior to Blade Runner. Because, someone like Ridley Scott has been, bashed so many times over his years for the kind of movies, because you know what? You're not going to bat 1,000 on all your movies. Every artist, every filmmaker, you're not going to be making, home runs, Oscar-winning things every single time. It doesn't work that way. Art doesn't work that way. So, someone like him, he just kind of just puts his head down and is like, I don't listen to it. I just do me. And that's my advice to you guys. You're always going to have people around you who don't believe in you, who are hating on you just because they have their own issues and they want to hate on you. There's other people who are going to try to bring you down. End of the day, guys, it's just listen to yourself and and just do you. Just do you. Do the art you want to do. Do the movies you want to make. Do you think that someone like Lloyd Kaufman, who runs Trauma Films, who's been a guest on our show, and I'll leave the link on that in the show notes. Lloyd makes movies like Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High. And, by all accounts, a lot of people do not like his movies. They're not for everyone. They're not supposed to be mass consumption. They're not for mass consumption. They are for a niche crowd. There's a lot of people who just don't like him or how he's been doing things. And, he's been doing it for like 30 odd, 40 years now. And he doesn't care. As you get older, by the way, comedian Wanda Sykes always says, as you get older, you give less of a fuck. And it's very true because they don't care. They don't care what they look like. They don't care, but they just don't care. They just don't care. And as you get older, you kind of give less of a shit about what other people think. And some people are crippled by it. Artists, I know a lot of artists, a lot of filmmakers who are crippled by it. And it's something that it bothered me when I was early on in my career, it bothered me a lot. But it doesn't bother me anymore. Of course, you don't want people to talk bad about you or bad about your work as an artist or bad about what you're doing. But you know what? At the end of the day, they're not paying your bills. They're not looking at you in the mirror at the end of the day. They're just doing them. So instead of just concentrating on them, concentrate on you. Concentrate on what you want to do and don't exert any energy by reading comments, by looking at what they're doing or what they're saying. Just do you. Can you imagine all of these big music stars like a Justin Bieber or a Drake or Beyonce or Jay-Z or Eminem or any of these guys? How many people have just completely tried to tear them down and they just shake it off? They don't care. They just keep doing it because it's not positive for themselves. It's not positive for their own artistic journey, their own personal journey. They just got to keep going. So my advice, guys, is to just do you. Don't worry about what other people are saying about you. People are going to hate. Don't try to defend yourself. Don't try to go after anybody because at the end of the day, it's all about you on your journey as a filmmaker, as an artist, as a human being, as a soul, whatever you want to call it. You got to do you. And not worry about what other people are going to do because other people are going to do what they are going to do. And you have no control over that. All you have control of is how you react to when things happen to you in life. You can't control the circumstances. All you can control is how you react to the circumstances, how you react to the haters drinking that haterade by the gallon. It's up to you guys to keep going because I've seen too many artists in my travels. I've seen too many artists who get sidetracked because or really crippled sometimes because of negative comments, people trying to bring them down, all sorts of stuff. And that's just the way things are. So please do you guys. Don't worry about what other people think about what you're doing. Just do you. Now, with that said, as an artist, if you're listening to constructive criticism, yes, listen to constructive criticism because that helps you grow as a filmmaker, as an artist. If it's something constructive, if you're doing something and there's just a wave of people who just like, look, this is not, if you're trying to achieve reaction A and 80% of the people who watch your movie are not getting reaction A, well, you should probably understand why they're not getting it. Maybe listen to what they're saying and then maybe adjust accordingly. But if there's just people who are just hating, be like, oh, look what he's doing. Oh, look at that. Oh, dee, oh, boo, boo, boo. That's not constructive. By the way, that was a great impression of a hater. I'm just saying. But anyway, so guys, don't worry about what other people say about what you're doing and who you are and any of that kind of crap. It's a lot of times it's just bullies, and the internet is full of these trolls and bullies who love to sit behind their keyboard anonymously just spewing crap just to spew it, and I really wish not only them, but everyone only good things in their lives. I hope that every hater out there eventually gets to where they want to go, and if they do that, maybe they'll stop hating on other people and maybe stop criticizing other people and trying to bring other people down. I really wish them nothing but love and support and good things on all their future projects. So from the bottom of my heart, everyone listening, just do you and don't let anybody else try to bring you down, guys. To download the show notes, go to indiefilmhustle.com/084 for all the links and things we talked about in the show. And don't forget to head over to freefilmbook.com. That's freefilmbook.com to download your free film audiobook from Audible. So guys, thank you for listening. Please spread the word on Indie Film Hustle, on the podcast, and on This Is Meg if you can. I really appreciate it. And keep that hustle going, keep that dream alive, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Indie Film Hustle podcast at indiefilmhustle.com. That's INDIEFILMHUSTLE.com.